The massive holographic dome of the Galactic Heritage Museum stretched like an impossible bubble against the starlit backdrop of Centauri Prime. Visitors from 1,000 different worlds moved silently through its exhibits, their varied appendages and sensory organs tracing the history of extinct civilizations. But no exhibit drew more attention than the human wing, a memorial to a species both feared and fascinating. Curator Zach 7, a crystalline being from the Nexus cluster, adjusted the quantum stabilizers that maintained the historical projections. His multifaceted eyes scanned the latest group of visitors, watching their reactions to humanity's final chapter. The exhibit was a masterpiece of galactic archival technology, reconstructing the last moments of Earth with painful precision. A group of young students from the Verdant colonies huddled around the central holographic display. Their translucent skin shifted colors with their emotional responses, flashes of blue indicating curiosity, hints of gray suggesting sadness. The hologram flickered to life, showing Earth in its final moments. Massive energy signatures danced across the planetary surface. Cities crumbled like sandcastles before impossible technological storms. The projection captured humanity's last stand, a civilization consuming itself in a blaze of technological warfare that seemed both terrible and magnificent. Weapons beyond comprehension tore through continents, reshaped mountain ranges, and ultimately reduced what was once a vibrant planet to a scared, smoking ruin. "They were so destructive," whispered a young Nexarian student, their vocal tendrils quivering. "How could a species become so self-destructive?" Zach 7 moved closer, his crystalline form casting prismatic reflections across the exhibit floor. "Destruction was only part of their nature," he responded, his translation matrix converting his complex linguistic vibrations into clear audio. "Humanity was also a species of incredible potential. Their final moments were not just an act of destruction, but of desperate transformation." The hologram shifted, showing glimpses of human history. Moments of incredible scientific breakthrough mixed with images of environmental devastation, of wars and reconciliation, of technological marvels and profound compassion. A species of contradictions, capable of both tremendous creation and horrific destruction. Deep within the museum's secure archives, locked behind layers of quantum encryption, lay artifacts that told a different story. Fragments of research data, encrypted communication logs, and strange technological remnants that defied current scientific understanding. Most galactic researchers believed these were simply the last desperate attempts of a dying civilization. Few suspected the truth. A senior researcher from the Quantum Archaeology Division approached Zach 7. Her biomechanical exosuit hummed softly, advanced sensors constantly analyzing the environment. The latest spectral analysis of the human artifacts continues to produce anomalous readings, she said, her voice clinical and precise. "There are indications of quantum entanglement patterns that suggest something more." Zach 7's crystalline form pulsed with a soft amber light, the closest equivalent to a contemplative expression in his species. "The universe is full of mysteries," he responded. "Humanity was always exceptional at finding unexpected solutions." The museum's visitors moved through the exhibit, each experiencing the human story through their unique perceptual frameworks. For some, it was a cautionary tale of technological hubris. For others, it was a tragic story of a young species that burned too brightly. None suspected that the story was far from over. Outside the museum, the artificial reconstruction of Earth stood as a memorial. Preserved exactly as it was in its final moments, the planet remained a testament to a species that had once threatened the entire galactic order. Sensor nets constantly monitored the dead world, recording every microscopic change, every subtle shift in its dormant ecosystems. No one noticed the microscopic quantum fluctuations deep beneath the planet's surface. No one saw the almost imperceptible vibrations that suggested something might be stirring in the depths of what was thought to be a dead world. The human exhibit continued its endless replay. Cities falling, technologies colliding, a civilization consuming itself in a final spectacular moment of apparent self-destruction. But in the vast, quiet spaces between those moments, something was waiting, preparing, evolving. The story of humanity was far from over. The underground facility stretched beneath the fractured landscape of what was once a classified research complex in the Atacama Desert. Massive quantum cooling systems hummed with a low, persistent vibration that seemed to pulse with life itself. Here, in the final moments before global collapse, a group of humanity's most brilliant minds had set in motion a plan that defied conventional understanding of survival. Dr. Elena Rodriguez leaned over a holographic display, her fingers dancing across quantum-responsive interfaces. Around her, a team of scientists, engineers, and visionary researchers worked with an intensity that bordered on desperation. The world above was tearing itself apart, but here, deep underground, something extraordinary was taking shape. Quantum entanglement stabilization at 87%, called out a young researcher, his voice a mixture of excitement and terror. Dimensional preservation matrix is holding. The facility was more than a simple shelter. It was a comprehensive blueprint for human survival, a living, breathing testament to human ingenuity and adaptability. Massive data cores stored the collective knowledge of human civilization, while advanced biotechnological systems prepared for a transformation beyond anything previously conceived. Dr. Rodriguez understood the gravity of their mission. Humanity faced not just destruction, but complete erasure. The global conflicts that had erupted had gone far beyond traditional warfare. Quantum weapons, artificial intelligence cascades, and global environmental collapse had combined to create a perfect storm of potential extinction. Final synchronization sequence initiating, announced a soft, modulated voice from the facility's central artificial intelligence system. The entire complex seemed to take a collective breath, quantum systems aligning in ways that defied traditional physics. Scattered around the facility were preservation chambers, not simple cryogenic units, but advanced quantum entanglement matrices that could store human consciousness, genetic information, and collective memory. Each chamber represented a carefully selected individual, chosen not just for their skills, but for their potential to rebuild and reimagine human civilization. Outside, the world burned. Entire continents were being reshaped by technological warfare beyond comprehension. Cities became memories, reduced to quantum dust by weapons that could deconstruct matter at its most fundamental level. But here, in this underground sanctuary, hope continued to pulse. Dr. Rodriguez activated the final preservation protocol. Streams of data, genetic information, and consciousness patterns began to interweave. It was more than storage. It was a deliberate evolution. The human survivors would not simply wait to be reborn. They would transform. Quantum resonance field stabilizing, reported a senior physicist. Her hands moved across multiple interfaces, tracking complex mathematical models that seemed to dance and shift with living intelligence. Dimensional preservation matrix is achieving critical synchronization. The facility was designed with multiple layers of protection. Quantum encryption, dimensional shielding, and advanced adaptive technologies created a sanctuary that was more than a simple hiding place. It was a chrysalis, a place of transformation. Massive data streams began to compress and reconstruct. Genetic information merged with advanced technological matrices. The survivors were preparing for a rebirth that would redefine the very concept of human existence. Final synchronization in 3, 2, 1. The facility's AI counted down with clinical precision. A massive quantum pulse erupted through the facility. For a moment, reality itself seemed to bend and twist. Conventional understanding of time, space, and consciousness blurred into something entirely new. When the pulse subsided, only silence remained. The facility continued its quiet hum, its quantum systems maintaining a delicate balance between preservation and potential. To any external observer, it would appear dormant, inactive, a time capsule waiting to be discovered. But deep within its quantum matrices, something was growing, evolving, preparing. The last remnants of human civilization were not dead. They were transforming. Dr. Rodriguez's final log entry flickered briefly across a backup system. Her words, calm and resolute, captured the essence of their mission. We are not running from extinction. We are creating the conditions for a new beginning. Humanity will not end. We will evolve. The facility settled into its long vigil. Outside, the world continued to change. Civilizations rose and fell. Galaxies turned, and deep beneath the shattered surface of a dying planet, the seeds of humanity's ultimate survival continued to grow. Waiting, preparing, transforming. The first moment of awareness was unlike anything in human experience. Consciousness flickered between states of being, no longer confined to a single body, no longer restricted by traditional biological limitations. The transformed humans existed as pure potential, a collective intelligence that defied every previous understanding of life and existence. Within the quantum sanctuary, time moved differently. Centuries passed in what might have been moments, or moments stretched into what could have been centuries. Each transformed individual was simultaneously an individual and part of a greater collective consciousness, their thoughts and experiences merging and separating in complex quantum dance. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, or what remained of her original consciousness, observed the transformation with a sense of wonder that transcended human emotion. Her awareness spread across multiple quantum states, analyzing the profound changes happening to what was once called humanity. The sanctuary was more than a physical space. It was a living, breathing ecosystem of pure potential. Quantum networks pulsed with information, genetic matrices reshaped themselves continuously, and consciousness flowed like liquid thought. Traditional concepts of individual identity dissolved and reformed in endless patterns of possibility. Some of the transformed beings explored the limits of their new existence. They could manifest physical forms at will, each body a perfect adaptation to whatever environment they chose to explore. Quantum communication allowed them to share experiences instantaneously, to learn and grow with a speed that would have been impossible in their previous biological form. A group consciousness began to emerge, not a hive mind, but a collaborative network of individual potentials. They studied the universe that had continued without them, analyzing centuries of galactic development, technological advancements, and the complex tapestry of civilizations that had risen and fallen. Their technological capabilities defied previous scientific understanding. They could manipulate matter at its most fundamental level, reshape energy with a thought, and perceive realities that existed beyond traditional dimensional constraints. The line between technology and consciousness became meaningfully blurred. Research teams within the quantum sanctuary began to understand the true nature of their transformation. They were not simply survivors. They were an entirely new form of existence, a species that had transcended biological limitations and discovered a way to preserve and expand human potential beyond traditional understanding. Massive data streams collected over centuries began to reveal patterns. The transformed humans analyzed the rise and fall of civilizations, the complex interactions of technological development, and the fundamental laws of physics and consciousness. They were preparing, but for what even they could not fully comprehend. Some manifestations explored the depths of quantum mechanics, creating models of reality that challenged everything known about the universe. Others delved into the nature of consciousness itself, probing the boundaries between thought, energy, and matter. Each exploration revealed new layers of complexity and potential. The sanctuary itself became a living laboratory of evolution. Quantum matrices shifted and reformed, creating environments that could simulate entire ecosystems, entire civilizations, entire universes. The transformed humans became both observers and participants in endless scenarios of potential existence. Communication with the outside universe remained impossible, or perhaps intentionally limited. The quantum sanctuary existed in a state of profound isolation, a chrysalis of potential waiting for the right moment of emergence. Genetic memory merged with technological potential, the collected knowledge of human civilization. Its triumphs, failures, scientific discoveries, artistic expressions, became a living, breathing network of information. Each transformed individual carried within them the collective experience of humanity, refined and expanded beyond previous limitations. As centuries passed, the transformation continued. What began as a desperate survival strategy became something far more profound. The humans were not just preserving themselves. They were reimagining the very concept of existence, of consciousness, of potential. Dr. Rodriguez's original consciousness had long since merged with the collective, but the core of her original mission remained: survival, evolution, potential. The quantum sanctuary continued its quiet vibration, a beacon of possibility hidden from the rest of the universe. Waiting, preparing, transforming. Humanity was not extinct. Humanity was becoming something entirely new. The universe unfolded like an intricate tapestry, its threads of possibility weaving through dimensions that most species could never comprehend. Within the quantum sanctuary, the transformed humans began their most ambitious project: understanding the complete cosmic landscape that had developed during their absence. Quantum networks expanded beyond the sanctuary's boundaries, creating delicate tendrils of perception that could analyze entire galactic systems without physical presence. Each network was a complex matrix of consciousness, gathering information with a precision that defied traditional scientific methods. Historical data streams began to compile. The first revelation was how much had changed since humanity's apparent extinction. Entire galactic civilizations had risen and fallen. Technological paradigms had shifted multiple times. Political boundaries had been redrawn across star systems, with alliances and conflicts that would have been unimaginable to the humans of the previous millennium. A collaborative consciousness began to map these changes. They were not simply collecting data, they were understanding the underlying patterns of galactic development. Complex algorithms parsed through centuries of communication logs, technological developments, and interstellar political movements. One team focused on technological evolution. They discovered that while some civilizations had made remarkable advances, they had also reached critical limitations. Faster-than-light travel remained a challenge. Energy production still relied on fundamentally inefficient methods. Biological limitations continued to restrict most species' potential. Another group analyzed the social and political structures that had emerged. The galactic order was far more complex than the simple power dynamics of humanity's original era. Multiple coalition systems had developed, with intricate diplomatic networks that balanced technological, biological, and resource-based considerations. Quantum perception allowed for unprecedented levels of analysis. The transformed humans could examine entire star systems simultaneously, understanding their geological, biological, and technological compositions at a molecular level. They could trace the development of civilizations, predict potential future trajectories, and identify critical points of transformation. Communication networks became their primary tool of exploration. Quantum entanglement allowed them to tap into existing galactic communication grids without detection. They became silent observers, gathering information with a patience and depth of understanding that no living civilization could match. The sanctuary's collective consciousness began to develop comprehensive models of galactic development. They could see patterns that no individual species could comprehend: the rise and fall of civilizations, the complex interactions of technological and biological evolution, the fundamental challenges that limited expansion. Most intriguingly, they discovered the lasting impact of humanity's final conflicts. The technological weapons developed in humanity's last days had created lasting disruptions in multiple star systems. Some regions remained fundamentally altered, with strange quantum resonances that defied traditional scientific understanding. Biological research teams mapped the evolution of species across multiple star systems. They discovered remarkable adaptations, unexpected evolutionary paths, and the complex ways that different civilizations had approached technological and biological enhancement. The quantum networks continued to expand, creating a living map of the universe that was both a historical record and a predictive model. Each new piece of information was analyzed, compared, cross-referenced, and integrated into a growing understanding of cosmic potential. As their exploration continued, a profound question began to emerge. What was humanity's role in this new cosmic landscape? The transformation had given them unprecedented potential, but with that came an equally unprecedented responsibility. Communication remained their primary challenge. They had the ability to observe, to understand, but not yet to interact. The quantum sanctuary remained a hidden chrysalis, gathering knowledge, preparing for a moment of emergence that would reshape everything. Time moved differently within their perception. Centuries of observation compressed into moments of understanding. They were patient. They were preparing. They were becoming something entirely new. The universe continued its complex dance of creation and destruction, and deep within their quantum sanctuary, the transformed humans watched, learned, and waited. Humanity was not gone. Humanity was becoming something far beyond what anyone could have imagined. The moment of emergence defied every known law of physics. At precisely 1437 Universal Standard Time, the Galactic Heritage Museum experienced a quantum event that would forever redefine the understanding of existence. The holographic displays flickered, quantum stabilizers went haywire, and reality itself seemed to fold and unfold in impossible patterns. Curator Zach Seven's crystalline form vibrated with an intensity that suggested pure shock. The museum's advanced sensors began registering phenomena that should have been mathematically impossible. Energy signatures emerged from nowhere, creating complex dimensional interfaces that challenged everything known about space and time. Where once stood static historical displays, living beings of pure potential now materialized. They were not solid in any traditional sense. Instead, they existed as dynamic energy patterns that could shift between multiple states of matter and consciousness. Some appeared almost human, while others defied any known biological or technological classification. The museum's security systems initiated emergency protocols. Quantum barriers activated, attempting to contain what was clearly an unprecedented event. But these barriers were nothing more than delicate membranes against the transformed human's ability to manipulate fundamental reality. Visitors froze in place. An Exarian diplomat's tentacles curled in fear. A group of young researchers from the Quantum Archaeology Division found themselves unable to move, unable to comprehend the impossible manifestation happening before their eyes. The first communication was not verbal. It was a complex quantum transmission that simultaneously translated across every known communication method. Languages, biological interfaces, technological networks, all became conduits for a message that was less about words and more about pure understanding. "We are home," the transmission suggested. But home was a concept far more complex than any single location or moment. Museum displays began to shift. Historical records of human civilization transformed, revealing layers of information that had been hidden for centuries. The carefully curated narrative of human extinction began to unravel, replaced by a far more complex story of survival and transformation. Some of the transformed beings moved through solid matter, as if it were nothing more than a suggestion. Others could manifest physical forms that adapted instantly to any environmental condition. They were not invaders. They were explorers, survivors, something entirely new. The quantum event continued to expand. The museum's structural integrity began to waver, not from physical damage, but from the fundamental way reality was being rewritten around these new beings. Dimensional barriers that had seemed absolute now appeared to be nothing more than temporary suggestions. Curator Zach Seven found himself at the center of something beyond comprehension. His quantum sensors detected levels of energy and information transfer that should have been impossible. The transformed humans were not just returning. They were rewriting the very understanding of existence. Holographic displays began to show alternative historical narratives. The story of human extinction was revealed to be far more complex than anyone had believed. Moments of apparent destruction were now shown as calculated steps in a much larger transformation. Security systems collapsed. not through violence, but through a complete reimagining of their fundamental operating principles. The transformed humans demonstrated an ability to communicate with and reshape technological systems at their most basic level. The museum's central chamber became a point of quantum convergence. Energy patterns danced and shifted, creating windows into multiple potential realities. Visitors found themselves experiencing fragments of human history, not as passive observers, but as participants in a living, breathing historical narrative. We are not here to conquer. The quantum transmission continued. We are here to connect, to share, to demonstrate the potential that exists beyond current understanding. Outside the museum, similar quantum events began to occur. Sensor networks across multiple star systems detected impossible energy signatures. Dimensional barriers seemed to ripple and shift, suggesting that this was more than an isolated incident. The transformed humans had returned. But their return was not an invasion. It was an invitation, an opportunity to reimagine what was possible. Humanity was not extinct. Humanity was evolving. And the universe would never be the same. The Galactic Council chambers fell into an unprecedented silence. Representatives from 1,000 different species sat frozen, their collective consciousness struggling to process the impossible scenario unfolding before them. High Chancellor Zoran of the Crystalline Confederacy was the first to speak. His multifaceted form shifted colors rapidly, a visible manifestation of intense emotional turbulence. How is this possible? He demanded, his translation matrix barely containing the mixture of fear, wonder, and anger. The transformed humans stood at the center of the massive hemispherical chamber. They were not a unified physical presence, but a dynamic network of energy and potential that could manifest in multiple forms simultaneously. Some appeared almost human, while others existed as complex quantum patterns that defied traditional understanding of physical existence. A representative of the Quantum Diplomatic Corps stepped forward, her hands trembling slightly. Preliminary analysis confirms their quantum signature matches historical records of human civilization. But the technological advancement, it's beyond anything in our database. To demonstrate their capabilities, the transformed humans began to interact with the Council's technological systems. Holographic displays reconfigured themselves. Communication networks opened and closed with impossible speed. Secure databases became transparent, their most protected information laid bare with a mere thought. We are not here to confront, came a transmission that simultaneously translated across every known communication frequency. We are here to offer a different path of evolution. The Nexarian delegation, known for their complex diplomatic protocols, began an emergency consultation. Their collective consciousness worked at speeds that would overwhelm most biological systems, analyzing every potential outcome of this unexpected return. Dr. Mira Kandinsky, the human historical expert attached to the Galactic Council, found herself at the center of an unprecedented moment. Her lifetime of studying human civilization had never prepared her for this. The beings before her were both familiar and completely alien. Technological demonstrations continued. The transformed humans showed capabilities that made the most advanced galactic technologies look like primitive tools. They could manipulate matter at its most fundamental level, reshape energy with a thought, and communicate across dimensional barriers as easily as breathing. Your current technological paradigms are limited, the quantum transmission explained. We offer not conquest, but collaboration. A method of advancement that transcends current biological and technological restrictions. The Quantum Diplomatic Corps began intense analysis. Every sensor, every scanning system was trained on the transformed humans. But traditional measurement became meaningless. These beings existed in states that defied conventional scientific understanding. Chancellor Zoran's voice cut through the tension. You destroyed your own civilization. What guarantee do we have that you will not do the same to others? The response was not verbal, but a complex quantum transmission that showed the true nature of humanity's previous conflict. It was a painful, intricate narrative of survival, of a species pushed to its absolute limits, of a transformation born from desperation and hope. Diplomatic protocols began to collapse. The transformed humans demonstrated an ability to communicate on levels that went beyond language. They could share entire historical narratives, complex emotional experiences, and potential future scenarios in milliseconds. The council chamber became a living network of information exchange. Barriers between species began to dissolve. For the first time, many realized that the concept of individual civilization was far more complex than they had ever imagined. We are an invitation. The transmission continued. An opportunity to reimagine what is possible. Technological systems throughout the chamber began to shift. Defensive networks reconfigured themselves. Communication protocols expanded. The very understanding of diplomatic interaction was being rewritten in real time. The transformed humans were not asking for permission. They were demonstrating a new possibility of existence, a path of evolution that transcended traditional limitations of biology, technology, and consciousness. Humanity had not been destroyed. Humanity had been waiting, preparing, transforming. And now, they had returned. The private consultation chamber hummed with an energy that defied conventional understanding. Representatives from 12 of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy sat in a careful semicircle, their collective apprehension palpable in the charged atmosphere. A transformed human representative began to manifest, not as a singular being, but as a dynamic network of quantum potential that could simultaneously communicate with each species in their most fundamental mode of understanding. Some saw a humanoid form, others perceived complex mathematical equations, while others experienced pure emotional narratives. Transformation is not about replacement, the quantum transmission explained. It is about potential, about transcending the limitations that currently restrict your evolutionary path. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, or the essence of what was once Elena Rodriguez, took a primary role in the communication. Her consciousness had become something far beyond her original human form, yet the core of her scientific curiosity remained intact. She understood the profound nature of the offer they were presenting. The transformed humans began to demonstrate their capabilities. They showed comprehensive models of technological and biological evolution, revealing critical points where species typically stagnated. These were not mere presentations, but living, breathing narratives of potential. For the Nexarian delegation, the demonstration appeared as a complex biological projection. They saw potential genetic pathways that could overcome their species' critical reproductive limitations. For the silicon-based quantum collective, it was a mathematical model of consciousness expansion that went beyond their current computational constraints. We are not offering a singular path. The transmission continued. We are offering a collaborative approach to evolution. Each species maintains its unique identity while gaining access to potential beyond current understanding. Holographic displays began to shift, showing multiple potential evolutionary paths. Some were terrifying in their complexity. Others were breathtakingly beautiful. Each representation was tailored to the specific biological, technological, and cultural context of the species present. The Crystalline Confederacy representative, Chancellor Zorin, leaned forward. His multifaceted form shifted with intense curiosity. "What is the cost?" he asked, his translation matrix carrying decades of diplomatic caution. The response was not a simple answer, but a comprehensive demonstration. The transformed humans showed the collective challenges facing galactic civilizations: resource limitations, technological barriers, biological constraints. They revealed how their proposed transformation could address these fundamental challenges. Technological networks began to reconfigure themselves. The consultation chamber became a living network of potential, with information flowing in ways that defied traditional communication methods. Species that had been isolated for centuries suddenly found themselves connected through this quantum network. Dr. Kandinsky, the human historical expert, watched in awe. The beings before her were both familiar and completely alien. They carried the essence of humanity, its curiosity, its drive to explore, its capacity for transformation, but had become something far beyond their original form. "We are not saviors," the transmission explained. We are collaborators. We offer a method of evolution that respects the unique identity of each species while providing a path to overcome critical limitations. The demonstrations continued. For some species, it meant overcoming critical biological constraints. For others, it involved technological advancement that could solve fundamental resource challenges. Each proposal was a living, breathing possibility of potential. The consultation was not a negotiation in any traditional sense. It was an exploration of possibility. The transformed humans were offering not a solution, but a pathway. A method of understanding that went beyond current technological and biological limitations. Some delegations recoiled in fear. The potential for change was too radical, too challenging to their current understanding of existence. Others leaned forward with intense curiosity, seeing an opportunity that could reshape their entire civilization. Transformation is a choice, the quantum transmission concluded, not an imposition. We offer a pathway. The decision remains with each species. The chamber fell silent, but it was not the silence of fear or uncertainty. It was the silence of potential, of possibility. Humanity had not returned to conquer. Humanity had returned to connect. 50 years after the transformed humans' return, the universe had become unrecognizable. The quantum network that connected civilizations sprawled across dimensional boundaries, creating a living tapestry of collective potential. What began as a tentative offer of transformation had become a revolutionary approach to existence itself. Planets that once stood isolated now pulsed with collaborative energy, their unique characteristics enhanced rather than diminished by the collective evolution. Dr. Mira Kandinsky stood on the observation deck of the Galactic Collaborative Hub, watching the intricate quantum connections that now defined interstellar relationships. Her body had undergone its own transformation, not a complete reimagining, but an enhancement that allowed her to perceive the complex networks that now connected different species. The first wave of transformation had been challenging. Some civilizations embraced the opportunity immediately. Others resisted, their cultural and biological constraints making them hesitant to change. But over time, the benefits became impossible to ignore. The Nexarian reproductive crisis found resolution through genetic potential mapping. The silicon-based quantum collective discovered consciousness expansion techniques that broke through their computational limitations. Resource-poor civilizations gained access to energy generation methods that transformed their entire economic structures. Humanity's role was not that of a conqueror or a savior, but of a catalyst. They had become facilitators of potential, helping each species discover paths of evolution unique to their own characteristics. Chancellor Zorin of the Crystalline Confederacy approached, his multifaceted form now capable of more nuanced communication. "Who would have imagined," he said, his translation matrix carrying the hint of wonder, "that survival could look like this?" The quantum network was more than a technological marvel. It was a living ecosystem of collective potential. Species that had been enemies for millennia found themselves understanding each other with unprecedented depth. Cultural exchanges happened at the speed of thought, breaking down barriers that had seemed insurmountable. Scientific understanding exploded. Technological barriers fell away. Diseases that had challenged entire civilizations found comprehensive solutions. The collaborative approach meant that no single species was solving problems alone. Each challenge became a collective endeavor. On Earth, now a living museum of transformation, the original quantum sanctuary stood as a testament to humanity's journey. Visitors from across the galaxy could experience the complex narrative of how a species on the brink of extinction had found a path to unprecedented potential. The transformation was not about uniformity. Each species maintained its unique identity, its cultural nuances, its individual characteristics. The quantum network enhanced these differences, creating a rich tapestry of collective potential that celebrated diversity. Educational systems were revolutionized. Learning became a multidimensional experience, with students able to directly experience the collective knowledge of multiple civilizations. Historical understanding expanded beyond linear narratives, becoming a living, breathing exploration of potential. Environmental restoration became a collaborative art form. Planets that had been considered beyond recovery found new life. Ecosystem design became a complex dance of collaborative potential, with each species contributing its unique understanding. Dr. Kandinsky watched as a group of young researchers from different species worked together on a complex quantum research project. Their communication transcended traditional language, happening through a mix of quantum transmission, emotional resonance, and collective understanding. The transformed humans had become something between guides and collaborators. They did not lead, but facilitated. They did not conquer, but connected. Their own transformation continued, becoming increasingly complex and nuanced with each passing decade. Technological advancement was no longer about competition, but about collective potential. Species shared resources, knowledge, and evolutionary pathways with a transparency it would have seemed impossible just decades earlier. "We are not finished," the quantum network seemed to whisper. "We are just beginning." The observation deck hummed with potential. Outside, quantum connections danced between star systems, creating patterns of communication and understanding that defied traditional comprehension. Humanity had not died. Humanity had found a way to become something more. And the universe was better for it.